All right, good. Hi everyone, welcome back to Munro Live. We're here at CES 2026. I'm here with Kent Brown, who's the manager of aftermarket sales and marketing here for US and Canada. And today, Kent is going to take us through what we're seeing in the background, which is staggering in scale. It's one of the John Deere combines that we're showcasing here at CES this year. So, Kent, I'd just love to talk to you a little bit about, I know you came from the engineering side.
Yeah.
It'd be really cool to just talk a little bit about the overview of the machinery that we're seeing in the background, some of the challenges, technically and otherwise, that it took to bring this thing to market, right? It's a considerable lift to get there, I'm sure.
Yep.
And just get some thoughts on, how John Deere is approaching this market, and some of the things that you guys observed and learned along the way in developing this.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity.
Yeah.
So we're standing in front of a X9 1100. He mentioned my title. It is a marketing title, but like he said, I spent about 12 years in engineering, and a lot of it actually was on harvesters. So this is an amazing machine. The first thing I like to point out is just kind of the wow factor of it. This thing will take in, we see these corn stalks right here, it'll take in 260 stalks per second, or 156,000 kernels, 156,000 kernels per second. And at the end of the day, our job is to protect this kernel and get all of them in that we can. It's customer profit, and then it's food on the table, right?
Wow.
And so it's a very manual intensive job. If you think about doing the best quality job, it's an 18,000 part machine, and all of the settings that you need to do to adjust job quality, it can become a long day. Yeah. And so what we're highlighting here is real tech, real automation that's serving the customer. And so this machine has the world's most advanced technology to automate all the job functions. So it's a fully automated machine, both in driving. It's not autonomous, but it's fully self-driving and fully automated settings to do all that.
That's incredible. I mean, to put that in perspective, automotive scale in terms of end items for number of part numbers is generally speaking between 1,500 and 3,000 parts. So the number of parts on this is staggering, right? It's between 9x and 10x the number of parts that we're managing on this. So from a complexity perspective, how is John Deere, because presumably, right, there's a lot of features that you can select or deselect as a prospective customer. How is John Deere managing that in the manufacturing side of things? Managing the complexity, the inflow of parts and requests and orders and complexity?
Yeah, I'd say between manufacturability and serviceability, it's at the utmost focus when you get these complex of machines. So we do it through, a lot of similarities to automotive where, through packages and options consolidation, trying to bundle things together to manage complexity, limit the corner conditions of configuration. So we try and do it that way. We are, the thing that's probably different than automotive is, maybe there's less, there's kind of an A and a B versus a B, C, or D. Sure. There's the ultimate premium. And we did a lot of it on the technology side by really incentivizing, or like when we wanted to get connected machines, we put the modular telematics gateway in base. We put the modular telematics gateway in base, the MTG, and that's how we get our connectivity. Yep. And so trying to do things like that to not make it an option to drive that data to the cloud so they can check their yield and have all that instantaneously.
So John Deere is not just producing the hardware, but kind of the full stack in terms of the software integration, connectivity, right? There's an autonomous function here as well that
Yep.
John Deere has really taken the bull by the horns and grabbed all of that and incorporated that into what we see here today.
Yeah,
Man.
we have our intelligent solutions group. We also have an electronics group up in Fargo, North Dakota. Our intelligent solutions group is based out of Des Moines. That's all our precision components. Yep. But we're very vertically integrated on the hardware side as well. But we know that we can't do it all. Like our JD Link boost, so that's our connectivity is JD Link. We also have a partnership with Starlink to expand connectivity.
Yeah. How, with something like this, I'm just thinking through the logistics piece of it, right? The ability to ship something like this. Customer orders this. What is a typical shot clock in terms of order placed, delivery, time frame? What is that flash to bang time? And more importantly, how do you get something like this from a manufacturing floor to a customer site?
Yeah. When you at the end of the day, you wouldn't believe it with this machine, but at the end of the day, when it all folds up and take the header off, it meets the shipping configuration guidelines of getting that 13.5 foot tall semi. Obviously, Some of these, based on configuration, will need to carry that wide load, but they'll be on rail, boat, transport. So we've got to keep that in mind.
Right.
As far as, sorry, what was your other question around?
Yeah, in terms of flash to bang time, like when an order is placed for this, how long does it take to get something like this in a customer's hands?
Yeah, if it's like an automotive, build and price and then order, I'd say that's probably maybe 2 to 4 times longer than the automotive, maybe.
Yeah.
But it really depends on, we had the COVID years where with supply shortages and things like that, where we faced the same automotive challenges or same challenges automotive did. But I'm only guesstimating on this one, but it's probably in that 2 to 4 month time period. But customers know that they wouldn't buy a combine for harvest if it's going to miss harvest.
That's right.
So our dealers work with our customers to make sure they order it in time to have
long
it
in advance.
Yeah,
makes perfect sense. Well, Ken, as we look around this, are there any attributes or things that you would want to point out that are really novel and unique to John Deere as we look at the hardware piece of it on site here?
Yeah, for sure. Thank you. So I want to highlight. It might be a little hard to see the left one. It's where the mirror arm connects up there, where the hinge point is in the mirror arm. There's 2 stereo cameras on this left side, and you can see the other one a little bit better because it's pointed at us on the other side. There are 4 stereo cameras on this machine. Those stereo on the front of this machine, there's 2 more on the unloading auger over there. These 4 on the front though, they're forward-looking perception. They're looking at the crop height. We're correlating that to crop density and crop yield, essentially. A harvesting machine works best, it's most productive when it's 100% full.
Right.
Like it wants to be 100% material flow all the time. And so if you can imagine with yield changes, it isn't with manual stick operation.
Right.
And so what that does is it measures crop yield and it will adjust ground speed to match yield and throughput. And then it will also integrates with then the machine settings to adjust those as that happens.
So if you've got a really sort of thin crop that you're approaching, you don't want this thing running full gangbusters and everything operating, or maybe you'll increase ground speed because you don't have to consume the same density.
So low yield, ground speed increases, high yield, it slows down to make sure you're doing that perfect job.
Yeah.
But it doesn't stop with just onboard hardware.
Yep.
So this integrates with satellite imagery. And so we're pulling satellite imagery throughout the year, which also is looking at crop density. It can see a few uniquenesses that maybe real time going 7 miles per hour you can't see.
Right.
And so it's an A+B, or sometimes an A or a B only, meaning sometimes you don't have connectivity and it's just the cameras providing that ground speed automation.
So it's like the historical trend of the satellite imagery coupled with the real-time camera imagery that's coming in, and the cross-section is where you determine your actual density.
Yeah.
Wow.
And there are a lot of times then when that A+B, that satellite imagery plus the camera feed, make it better than either one individually.
Wow, that's great. Well, it's very impressive. The showcase here, I wish the camera did it justice to be here with the machine. Really excited about what Deere is doing. And Kent, thank you just for taking some time and walking through the machine here.
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity. I appreciate you guys.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thanks. Thanks, everyone.